what really happened throughout the entire season. Overall, Izanami has been a solid player ever since his debut in MPL, which was season 7. So imagine the year that you debut, you got the champion, and it's just downhill from there.
It really is downhill from there. And I do recognize that Izanami is a really strong player. I have him on my dream team.
Oh, you
I
do?
respect this guy a lot. It's just kind of unfortunate that RSG does tend to face a little bit of issues because they are a very strong team, but they're always caught in the middle of other teams that are a lot stronger, other teams are a lot weaker. They're just kind of in that awkward middle segment all the time, and hopefully they can break out of that now that we're going into game number 2.
Yeah, again, like, even though I don't have him on my dream team, but I always remember, like, he makes those crazy plays. Like, if I'm not mistaken, even during I think it was like week 6 or week 7 of the previous season where his team legit almost lost. He was using a Kagura. Not only did he manage to get like 3 kills, he stole the Lord away, and just because of that one play, I mean, to be fair, the entire game he did a lot of plays, but that one play really turned things around. So right now for the side of RSG, Faramis, I would say, is a playmaking hero. But they really gotta make sure that Izanami does well, and I feel like this is probably one of the most difficult things for the side of RSG, their management as well as the coaches, who can catch up with Izanami. Before this, it was Zakis, but then we can see that Zakis started to go down a little bit, and now they're trying to sub in HAQ. But right now, it looks like HAQ, even though I think the animal itself is pretty fast, it's not fast enough to really catch up with Izanami's speed.
I think, unfortunately, as much as it may be counterintuitive, it might be better to just let Izanami play his own game. It might be better to give him a mage that can really dish out the damage and not rely too heavily on supporting the rest of his team, because when Izanami has that lead, when he has his items, he can, as we mentioned, make miracles happen. But of course, ideally you don't want to do that. You want to be having a cohesive lineup. So hopefully RSG can find that glue that allows them to stick themselves together a little bit more effectively.
I almost want to see him play the Lunox again.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, like his Lunox game, especially during MSC when they got the 4th place. That was crazy when Zakos was using the Cho. But right now, looking back into the draft, I do agree. Whatever mid laner they set up for him, they need to make sure that they can carry. But right now, we got to talk about the opposite mid laner, Man, with the average KD of 6.1 and 3,220 average damage per minute. Miniman, I think you can agree with this. It's so crazy because we know them personally, and they're such nice people, very humble, very down to earth. But whenever they're in the game, they're so different. So whenever you see them, people are like, they're just okay. They're just okay. But then when you see them in game, they're scary. They're relentless.
I mentioned this before in previous casts, but seeing Min and Man grow alongside the MPL has been astounding, all the way from Season 7, I believe, when they were part of Reborn Esports. The difference between then and now is basically worlds apart. And I love to see that sort of development from these players here. But with the draft proceeding right now, we can see that 1-1 was banned by Team HAQ, Akai by RSG-MY, meaning that the Beatrix is actually going to be first pick again, but this time on the side of RSG. So, what's Team HAQ going to be bringing to the table for Game 2?
I know we're talking about the draft, and I know this is slightly outside of the realm of 22% win rate. Now we see.
That's kind of sad.
26 times bans, 9 times pick, and in those 9 times, only win like what, 2 games?
I think so.
Yeah, that's kind of not nice. But what I actually wanted to say was I want to see Harif, because I tried out after Harif has been adjusted, and I actually feel like Harif on the gold lane is actually quite good, because now that we are able to see which points in the emblems that the players have set, I've tested it out. If you put at least 2 points into cooldown, you only need the Calamity Reaper and the cooldown boots, and you have enough cooldown to really spam your Zaman Force combo.
Yeah, actually, we did see a Harif yesterday.
Oh, I did! I wasn't casting that game! Oh my god!
Team Lunatics played
Was it good?
Harif jungle, and then they lost.
Oh,
It didn't quite work out.
Dude, don't give it. Oh, okay. Anyways, you're making me sad. Okay, you know what? Never mind. I said Harif gold, not Harif jungle. What were they thinking? He doesn't need the purple buff anymore, all right? Just put a little bit of cooldown in your mage build, and it's fine.
He did do a lot of damage though.
Okay.
The team lineup just didn't quite work out there.
Okay, you
But
know what?
let's move on from previous day's game and back to the current draft. Team HAQ actually kind of challenging RSG here. They pick up the Claude and Fair missing. We're gonna open the exact same way you did last game, and we're gonna show you how to do it better. Hopefully they manage to do that in this case. RSG though, they're gonna pick up the Diggy preemptively because they are worried about the
I think a
Atlas
Franco pick.
and the Esme as a safe choice.
I think a Franco pick would be pretty good here just because you can't really provide a lot of pressure. But no, they're picking out the Dyrov and 100% win rate. Much more impressive than the Faramis.
Wow, I don't think we've actually seen Lola playing on the Derov yet this season. So far, he has been playing really tanky, sustained types heroes like the Phoveus, like the Masha, like the Esme. So I'm very curious to see how well he'll perform in a lane where he should definitely be dominating HYHY ideally. Now that the first 3 picks have already been locked in, Team HAQ will have the choice of the first ban here. RC currently still looking for a mid laner as well as a jungle.
If I was them, I would actually focus on Kuza's hero because Ling is not here, so Ling could be banned, but they're banning out the Hayabusa because I feel like banning out Izanami would be a pretty bad choice just because of how many heroes he can use. He still has the Eve, he still has the Sicilian, and again, looking at him, he's the focus player for this game. 6.3 average KDA with a 3092 average damage per minute, so not far off from Man, even though Man has played more games than him. But Izanami so far, ever since his debut, has been very consistent, especially when it comes to his KDA.
Yeah, Izanami always knows how to position himself in these fights, and even when his team is losing, his KDA is always pretty stellar. So this average KDA is not surprising at all, despite when you really think about it, it's a pretty high number for someone in the mid lane. So we'll see whether or not Izanami will be able to carry his team here in game number 2, because RSG definitely need this to secure themselves a more comfortable foothold in the standings right now. They are going to choose to ban out the Lilia, seeing that they've not yet picked a mage on the side of Team HAQ. So they are anticipating that this is going to be a fair miss roam, actually.
Alright, so the Thamos has been banned out, and right now, Kuza, honestly, his link is pretty good as well. The Karina is going to get banned. Wow. I'm just surprised.
This is
Cool.
very interesting.
Cool, but surprised.
They ban out the Karina, even though the link is still open. Now, admittedly, it would be a little bit risky for Team HAQ to go for Ling right now because they don't actually have a very good lineup to support him in the jungle, and it would be very easy for the Diggy to just walk in and bomb the buff out of his hands. But if they want to go for it, I don't think it's too bad. I just don't think that's going to be their choice. I think Gary might want to go for a more fighter-style jungler in this game specifically.
Yeah, for the side of Team HAQ, honestly, they have enough damage. But like you said, they just don't want it to be a situation where they're disturbed quite a lot in the jungle. However, if RSG and Moai really showed anything in the previous game, even if they're gonna focus, they're really gonna focus on the gold lane instead of any other lane. And right now, Team HAQ, they're picking up the Kadita.
Oh, this is interesting.
Are they like preemptively, because Izanami's types of heroes are you know, like very static. So is this a preemptive pick to really counter out the Izanami? Because looking at Kuza's cam, even Kuza's like, come on man, they pick up the Kadita?
I think it's more akin to a situation where Kadita is a hero that can very easily bait out the time journey, right? Unlike other mage heroes, for example, let's say the Eve, where you have to pop the whole real world manipulation and waste the cooldown, with Kadita, all you have to do is threaten with the Breath of the Ocean, and you can force the time journey out just to make sure that a teammate doesn't die to the rough waves. And I think that's what Team HAQ is operating off of here. What I'm surprised about is that they pick up another mage, because I actually thought this Faramis was going to be played by Man instead. So it is actually a roamer, and RSG will finish off their draft with the Balmont as well as the Sicilian.
Yeah, they hovered the Lunox for a bit, slightly excited, but no, they're choosing a safer pick. And in a way, yeah, still, the Kadita is good against the Sicilian, because all you have to do is to make sure that the Sicilian is sleeping, not sure of the Kadita's positioning, and then boom, easy kill. However, Izanami on the Sicilian, I think it's going to be very difficult to catch him off guard. Right now, for the side of Team HAQ, kinda they don't have a jungler, but if they want to switch it up, they can put this Dyrov in the jungle position. I don't know.
I think Dare of Jungle would actually be pretty good here.
Yeah,
It
going
works
up against
against
Balan.
Salmon,
Yeah.
works against Esme.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's the Dare of Jungle.
Nice.
Lola going to be playing on the Khalid, you might think, but if you put Derop in the jungle, there's no one to bully Esme out of lane. Well, guess what? They still do.
Yeah, especially if the Khalid ends up with a assassin emblem, like a high and dry or a killing spree, as long as he has enough penetration and an execute. Yeah, the Esmeralda will be quite punishable just because the execute does actually penetrate the shield. Sorry, I tried to convert from Malay into English for that one. Yeah, he can penetrate the shield. Ignore the shield. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
But we can hear the cheers and chants once again from the audience. Always great to have this kind of atmosphere at the live venue. You can imagine it really will invigorate these teams. And they definitely need all the support they can get right now once we prepare to enter the land of Dawn. Looking at the lineups once again, RSG actually have a really strong early game composition to set up for late game scaling on the Sicilian and the Beatrix. But Team HAQ has a much stronger early to mid power spike, as most of their team is going to be focused on dishing out damage and surviving it all with the Cult Altar. Will RSG be able to stop this aggression, or will Team HAQ be able to slay our former champions?
Yeah, right now what I really want to see is how they survive in lane. Right now, HAQ with HY, is he going to stay here for a long time? Like, is this going to be a situation where they're really trying to bully out the EXP laners?
I think it's understandable here because Lolios will obviously win out against Panda in lane. Beatrix versus Claude will always lean towards Beatrix. So they're going to focus on the EXP lane because they know that HY will have a hard time against Lola. And Team HAQ instantly responds with the same thing because having two people in that lane allows them to roam a lot more quickly.
That's so annoying. Man actually managed to steal one of the creeps. I was just about to say, before that, looking at this, Kuza is there trying to get a kill onto Min, but Min with the sprint is able to run away. I was about to say the setup for Kuza's emblem, extra damage to monsters as well as the cooldown time on the retribution. Lolios looks like there's nowhere for you to go. First blood to Panda.
That's a nice gank from Gary right there, knowing that a lot of RSG are in the bottom side, instantly taking advantage of that. Team HAQ, their rotations have been pretty on point this season, and that trend is continuing here. I'm also noticing Min, his emblem is pretty greedy. He's got Avarice on the Roam Faramis.
It's greedy, but at the same time, it does build that mindset. I have to do something. I have to catch someone out. If I want the goal, I need to do something about it. And I kind of feel like it is okay just because Faramis is not really the tankiest of all roamers. So he needs a way to build a little bit more gold than the usual so that he can complete his items a little bit faster so that he can actually catch people out with his Shadow Stampede more consistently.
We can see that Team HAQ has instantly forced RSG to change their plans. Now HAQ has to assist Lolios because they're afraid of the Dare-Off gang, meaning that HY is actually going to have a tough time against Lola in lane. And that means that they can allow Gary to play around the bottom side. But Panda, though, taking a lot of abuse up here. Kuza coming in. This is probably a dead Claude. Yeah, no way he's getting out of that.
Yeah, that was a little bit too easy for Kuza. But right now, Team HAQ, they managed to get the turtle for themselves. Is it important? Maybe not, just because the way RSG is playing, it looks like they're really focusing on the lane. Because look at the Dire-Off. He's inside RSG jungle.
Yep, he's just going to be stealing camps away. And this is something that Team HAQ has been doing quite consistently. When they know they have the stronger early game composition, they not only more efficiently farm their jungle, they try and take as much farm from the enemy as possible as well. They actually prioritize ganking the lanes a little bit less.
Yeah, in this kind of game, I guess it doesn't hurt that much for Kuza just because as a Bellman, you're not really buff dependent. You know, you want gold, you want experience, that's great, but if you don't get it, it's not the end of the world because the key for them to win is mostly Kuza as well as Izanami, and as I said that Izanami got caught out by Mun.
It's going to be hard for Sicilian to get away from a Kadita after all, especially if Min is there to make...
That would have been so cool!
That's actually a nice combo.
That would have been so cool!
Oh my goodness. But good reaction timing from Kuza to be able to dash out of that situation. I don't think he would have died, but he did deny a very cool play from Team HAQ, and sometimes psychological damage does matter.
No, like sure, he probably would have survived, but we would have wanted to see that because then we can hype up Min and Mun even more. Like
psychological damage.
Psychological damage, and right now Kuza is taking literal damage from Gary. Same thing for Izanami, trying to run away. He manages. I mean, why did he go back in?
Why?
For Gary, we hyped you up. Why'd you go back in?
That was just a bad choice. He underestimated the distance.
Why'd you go back in?
Unfortunately walked right into shotgun radius though, so Team HAQ are making some mistakes themselves. I guess he wanted to set up for Min as he comes in with the Cult Altar. Instantly popped though by Loliels, meaning that they can't actually continue this push, so they'll settle for gold shielding.
I'm sorry for asking the obvious questions, but like, why'd you go back in? Like, seeing like half HP and everything, and then they're like, I cannot play this. Famous last words.
Yeah.
I cannot play this.
I don't even know which player you're referring to specifically.
Oh no,
because,
for both teams.
Yeah, a lot
yeah.
just happened
Yeah.
there. I can understand Man maybe. You sometimes do underestimate the shotgun damage, and he thought he had enough iframes. That was good timing from Loliels, but Izanami had no excuse. He definitely knew that he could die to Gary. He just got greedy.
Famous last words, man. I cannot play this. Mine right now from behind. Loliels and Hot, nowhere to go. Petrify has been used, and right now Panda going in, trying to deal all the damage onto Loliels. He has to use his flicker, trying to run away, but right now Team Hot, this is a very free turret for them. Lola all alone. He tries to go back in, and Izanami manages to get a kill. Why'd you go back in?
That's a bit of a mistake again by Lola there. I'm not sure if he still had his quicksand guard. I assume he did, and he thought he'd be able to jump behind them and heal up with that second skill instead of running away with his ultimate. But underestimating the lethal counter again. These teams are playing a little bit sloppy here.
I just want someone to clip this and just let the title be I cannot play this, and then just show all of the failed outplays. But either way, right now for the side of Team HAQ, we do have to acknowledge 1,000 gold lead for them is looking very nice. It's looking very spicy, and they have to be careful just because Man on this Kadita. Look at the positioning of him. He's actually holding on to this crucial bushes, the ones that a lot of the squishy carries will eventually move towards. Izanami so far, he's been on an island by himself. The rest of his team isn't helping out that much, and we can definitely see Team HAQ taking advantage of that.
And you can see that they're distracting RSG and
like
Y
the
right
though.
now with Lola in the top lane and moving over to the mid side, and that means that Panda gets a free tower down bottom. However, RSG are actually able to trade a tier 1 up top as well, so there's not going to be a big gold gap there, although Gary stealing the orange buff away again will contribute a bit to that.
Yeah, looking at the damage, Gary is definitely dealing so much damage. 15,000 damage in this game so far. Loliels is not far from him. And like now, Min and Man engaged. A very free kill onto Loliels. What was that? That was so fast. And Gary wants a little bit more. Looking at Izanami. HP is so low. Panda goes in. He still has to call Alter. He can survive for a very long time. HAQ and Izanami is basically almost dead. And looks like Team HAQ manages to get this mid lane turret with an aggressive play.
I'm sorry, RSGMY, but this is how you use the Cult Altar. You have to be more aggressive. Team HAQ, they're fully making use of this. Full diving the mid tower, getting 2 free kills. And I do feel like Loliels was a bit out of position there. He really did not anticipate the bush ambush, even though he should have. He might die again, but is able to flicker away. And now Min nearly dying. He's able to get away with the concealed play. Lola will sacrifice his life, but not before he takes HY with him.
Yeah, RSGMY. That fight just now was kind of also a little bit sloppy. Two members were basically jumbled together, making it easy for Lola to jump back in. It was a good thing he didn't secure more kills than he was supposed to. If that was a fighter emblem Khalid, he probably would have gotten enough spell vamp to survive that. But either ways, right now, RSGMY, they're 4,000 gold behind. It's still okay. If only we know how much stack does Izanami have, because right now they're really looking at Izanami as well as Loliels to dish out the damage. Consequently, their KD is the same, 1, 2, and 1.
Well, when you consider that Izanami is actually a level behind the rumor Faramis on Team HAQ, you can tell that he's not having a very good time. Not to mention Lola in the EXP lane matching Kuza in EXP2. Team HAQ continuing to apply the pressure because why not?
Yeah, why not? And Izanami has been caught. Imagine a very, very nice catch from Min, but they're not done yet. RSGMY, are they capitalizing on his mistake? Min pulls Kuza back in, but not enough for Kuza to secure a kill. And right now, Panda is all alone. He goes back. Kuza is still there. Kuza is taking quite a lot of damage. They have to go away. Loliels, do you want to really fight this out? HY with the Esmeralda, it's not that tanky going up against Team HAQ.
That was a little bit too aggressive by Gary there, and really good timing from Loliels. The Cult Altar did actually save the Dirop, but he timed his Rena shot perfectly for when he would respawn. after the Cult Altar, and that allowed him to pick up the kill. But if we're looking at the items right now, Team HAQ are obviously in a comfortable position. Panda already having Demon Hunter Sword and Golden Staff. We actually have Malefic Roar on both Gary and Lola as well. So that's a lot of damage RSG has to be careful of.
This is very surprising. HY is so low down in gold, way lower than I thought. He has the Enchanted Talisman, but he has not completed his Oracle just yet. On the other side, Lola has 2 damage items. He had the Blade of Heptases as well as the Malefic Roar. I did not know HY was that down in gold. No wonder he wasn't that tanky to go up against the backline from Team HAQ.
Because HAQ had to go and support Lolils instead, they couldn't support HY, and that means the Esmeralda just has a much rougher time. But we're actually seeing Izanami is scaling up pretty well. 2 shots from the bad impact was enough to bring Man down to this level of HP, so Team HAQ does actually have to be careful here.
Well, RSG, if they really want a reverse sweep, did he just... No, I thought Lolia secured the orange buff, but no, it still went over to Kuza. I feel like at this point in the game, it's better to just give it to the Loliels, the man on this Beatrix. But either way, RSG is not entirely impossible. They just have to bait out Min and Man's engage. However, we gotta say, Min and Man, their engage has been pretty clean. Man consistently with the Breath of the Ocean, managing to get the correct target. I mean, it's one thing to get a target, but getting the correct target. First he got Loliels, and then he got Izanami. If this keeps up, it's gonna be an annoying game for the damage dealers of RSG.
You have to know that Min and Man have some of the most consistent trigger fingers I have seen here, but they're engaging. Min going in, Cold Altar pop down to counter the lethal counter itself. Lola out of position here, so they're gonna be stuck under the tower, but the Lord already takes it out. Lola will lose his life, but they trade the inhibitor for it. I don't think that's too bad. Gary just comfortably tanking HY is like, you can hit me all you want. I'm going to take your inhibitor and I'm just going to walk away.
Yeah, that's kind of what feels bad when you're there, but that's literally nothing that you can do. A level 11 Esmeralda going up against a level 14 Dyrov, where Dyrov already has a natural advantage against you. Kind of surprised Gary did not just take it, especially after the Ling game. I was kind of like, I could probably take this 1v1.
Man could be in danger here. The Retri on top of him already slowing him down, but a nice placed Breath of the Ocean forcing Kuza to walk around means that he will actually be escaping, but he will be losing all of his cooldowns for a little while.
I need a t-shirt for Min and Man, man. Like these guys have been something else here in the MPL. I kind of want to see them go to M4, honestly, to face up against all the other international threats out there. But right now, looking at the Lord push advantage, 26,000 tower damage is pretty impressive. Right now, for the side of RSG just because they do have the Sicilian, this is one of those games where I will not call them out just yet because they have a lot of opportunities. As long as Team HAQ makes one mistake, then they can capitalize on it. But Min, so far in this game, has not died. He's the roamer, and he's the only person in his team that has not died just yet.
Oh, speaking of dying though, HY could be in danger. 1v3, Abysm Strike going to miss, but Man actually gets caught out by Lolils on the side. Cult Altar now popped on top of Gary and Panda. Min trying to pull multiple members forward. RC quite low, but they're also dishing a lot of damage with the bad impact. A nice Raging Sandstorm to catch one, but a double kill from Gary will secure the Ballman. Panda nearly dying as well to Lolils. RSG actually trade that 2 for 2.
Yeah, right now they gotta look at Izanami. Izanami is very, very dangerous. If you can catch Izanami, you win, right? That's the only thing in Team HAQ's mind right now. Catch Izanami, you win. As long as Izanami has the range advantage, he can dish way more damage than even Panda can dish out, but you gotta be careful of that.
Yeah, he just got the Winter Trunkian too, so now it's even gonna be harder to catch out the Sicilian. We did mention, gives Izanami a damage hero, but now they're trying to retaliate. HY jumping in, Man nearly dying, and he actually does! Lolils with the snipe again! Catches out to Kadita. Here comes Gary! He steals it with the retribution! Cold Altar keeping Team HAQ alive. Gary gets the kill on HY. Lola taking a lot of damage. Lethal counter will finish him off. Panda still trying to dish out enough, but Kuza is pretty tanky right now. Team HAQ will have to back this off.
A lot of things happened there, but we gotta say, Gary secures the Lord. That was clutch. But look at the damage coming out from the side of RSG, and why Lolia's managing to snipe out mine. Great. But the follow-up after that, the side of RGMY, they have the damage. They have good positioning now to actually take the fights from Team HAQ. And Team HAQ, they realize that not just Izanami, but Lolias is starting to get comfortable. Looking at the items over here, Lolias has the Blade of Despair, the Malefic Roar, as well as the Wind of Nature. Quite a lot of damage. Looking like his Wind of Nature might still be in cooldown, probably like what, a minute or like 40 seconds. But by the time the Lord comes, I don't think he has his Wind of Nature just yet.
This is going to be a big defense, but Panda has already been chunked down to basically 20% HP. I don't know who did that, but I'm assuming it was Lolios there. So it's going to be harder for Team HAQ to defend, to kind of push this out. Luminous Lord already dead. Min still trying to go in with the Cult Altar, but it is not enough. So they want to settle for an inhibitor, but Falling Star Moon is going to catch them out. Lola going to be left in the dust. He's going to be sacrificed to allow Team HAQ to escape.
Did you see how much HP just disappeared? He had like, what, 70% HP, and then it was like 15%. All in just one shot. I don't know if it's just Izanami or just Lolios or both damage stacking up with each other right now. Man has been found out. Min, is he going to pull Kuza into the turret? Not far enough just yet. RSG and MY, right now they have quite a good advantage. Gary having to use his Abyssal Strike just for that one minion.
Yeah. Right now, Team HAQ are having a bit of an issue. They don't have any assassins on their lineup, meaning that they have no easy way of going to the backline and picking off Lolios and Izanami, meaning that they have to just try and dive, and RSG has been doing a good job of zoning out there. If we look at the damage dealt, Lolios is way ahead of Panda there, and I'm actually surprised that Izanami isn't higher on this list, but I'm assuming that's going to change pretty soon if this game lasts much longer.
Looking at this game, I kind of feel like it will last much longer. Lolios, I think he got a very big spike in terms of gold, because I think now, you know, he already completed all of his items, especially with the Weapon Master passive. He's going to deal quite a lot of damage. The last Lord push, only 3,000 tower damage, and we can see a negative gold earned as well as EXP earned, just because RGMY, they actually got a lot of good advantage going up against Team HAQ. And right now, 15 minutes, I think it's pretty crucial. If they were a little bit late on their timings on getting their power spike, Team HAQ could have closed this game like 2 minutes ago.
They actually could have, and that's just how crucial it was that RSG was actually able to win some of those skirmishes right before this. They put themselves back in this game, and they actually have the better late game teamfight composition, even though Team HAQ has the Cult Altar. Lola, in a bit of danger, has to use his ultimate Cult Altar as well. He's right, finding tree, but that's the Cult Altar. We see Man, he's probably going to be dead here. Has to use the Rough Waves to survive. Will Lolio snipe him? No, he will not. So the Kadita survives for now, but wasn't able to execute anyone. Panda jumping in with the Blazing Duet and the Wind of Nature, but not doing enough damage. They can't even find HAQ in the backline, but they are able to zone them off of the Lord. That's what they want to achieve right now. RSG, though, they're not going to give this up. They know they only have one inhibitor. They cannot afford to give this away. Man nearly dying to the snipe. Lola going to be buying a lot of time, but again, nearly dying to the snipe, and the shotgun finishes him off. The Lord isn't quite at range yet. Lolios will survive with the Wind of Nature and the Flicker away from the Abyssal Strike. Man gonna find the Rough Wave! On the Kuza! They get two! And it's right! They forgot he was there!
What a setup! That's what we were talking about. They gotta hold on to these bushes, but Lolias, he wants the kill. Gary as well as Min going forward, and Min finally dies, his first death of the game. But man, that trigger finger as well, because you know the Karita, there's like you gotta wait for a bit, and then he dives into the water. But the timing is so nice. Kuza could not react fast enough to it.
Oh, that was beautifully done, and
so
unfortunate.
beautiful.
RSG, they forgot he was there. I'm pretty sure they knew Man was still in that bush. They either assumed that he had left or he had recalled back to base. So that definitely caught them off guard. But also a little bit of miscommunication from Team HAQ too. Min jumped in afterwards with the Cult Altar and hoped. Ooh, that was scary.
I don't think it was like miscalculation. It was just assuming it was empty, and they also would probably assume I won't get one-shotted, right? Because how often as a Bellman, you get one shot, right? But right now, the Lord is inside the base of RSG MY. Team HAQ is actually controlling it so well. The Lord is still full HP. Lola is focusing to the front. They're engaging. Team HAQ is going full force, trying to deal as much damage as they can. Kuza has been brought down. He's right in the back line, trying to slow it down a little bit. But Team HAQ, they're going to close it out. Team HAQ with a clean 2-0.
A 2-0 victory. It feels like it's been a while since we've gotten a clean 2-0 sweep here, but